it looks like. I tried to call today and talk to the mortgage company just to try to see what's up. Because honestly, I was just going to try to catch her up, right? And it looks like she's in loss mitigation, they call it. So I think they're willing to work on a deal. She's got a 9% loan, though, which is pretty high. Do what?
That's somebody else. I just muted him.
Oh. So she's got a 9% loan, which is pretty high. And she doesn't really have a lot of equity in the property. From what I can see, she owes 129 and the property's worth maybe like, 160, on a good day. So a fire sale might net her like 130, you know what I mean? Like right at what she owes. I'm trying to explore different ideas. Normally I don't deal with my own stuff, right? But this is, I'm trying to help her out and figure out, is there a way for, one, could I just salvage it for her, like by putting it in a trust and then, trying to pay it down. But I'm not looking to try to sink a bunch of cash into a property that is kind of in, a rougher part of town. You know what I mean?
Okay. What's the overall goal? Like to get her to like be able to stay there and stay living there?
Yeah, that would be the goal. She doesn't have to, but I mean, that would be the goal. Yeah. So what she did was she pulled a bunch of equity out of the property to use it to pay a bunch of bills and stuff, she said. And so now, she's got a commercial loan, it looks like, at 9% interest, like I said. So.
Okay. And it's two pieces of debt that total up to the 130?
No, it's just one lien.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first position only.
Yeah, 9% is nuts.
9% is terrible. Yeah.
What if she tried to go get a new loan? Refinance out of that one?
I don't think she'd be able to, though, with owing 3 months behind.
How much equity does she have in there? Does she have enough to pull equity out? Because if she does, she could either do a refinance or a HELOC.
I don't think that she would be able. I mean, HELOC would be a possibility, maybe, but I don't think so because, like I said, the newest house that just sold for $168,000, and that was all redone. And this house still has to have quite a significant amount of work done to it. And, like I said, she refinanced it for $129. That's her loan balance right now.
But she's living there and like she could remain living there without putting a bunch of money into the house, right?
She could, yeah.
And like that would be okay.
I mean, she would deal with it, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think like the piece to solve is like, okay, we could definitely get her to stay there, but then it comes down to, can she afford to stay there? So like, I'm sure that 9% that took a payment made a payment go way too high out of budget, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So like if she could get a new loan and get maybe a 6% rate, something like that, that would take it down quite a bit. Or
why would a lender go with her and give her a 6% when she's at 9 now, knowing that there's not a ton of equity, left over? Why would she be able to refinance if she's been late 3 times?
Well, I would go to a different bank. I wouldn't, so like with this, you said it was a commercial loan. Do you know?
It is a commercial. So when I looked into Salim Finance, which is the company that the servicing is under, it had it listed as commercial loan, and then it says 30-year, and then it says 9% interest. I was like, holy crap.
That's why it's so high on interest, because it's a commercial.
Yeah. So like my head goes to, watch. Do you know what the payment comes out to on that?
Just like $1,267.
I'm going to see what an FHA, what that payment would be. Or even conventional.
Come on, buddy.
Probably about 750, 800, if I just guess.
And then, Sean, what would you say? Like 6, 6.5? What's prime at? 6?
Yeah, about 6.
So, yeah, 778, without tax and insurance. So, call it 780 would be the new payment. Is that like in budget?
Yeah, she would be able to afford that. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would just try and go to like a new lender. Hey, I want to refinance. And then yeah,
Even though she did a refi back in like May or August of last year.
yeah, that doesn't matter.
That should be
Oh.
fine. Plus, on top of that, when you go to the new lender, explain the situation. Say, look, they put her in a commercial loan, and she just can't afford this. We need to get her into a single family or a FHA loan, so that way she can afford the payments and make those payments. Let them know the situation. Usually, they're good at working with you.
And if she moves out of that property, though, does the FHA loan still okay?
Yes,
So it's-
no. So, FHA, first time home buyer, right? So, like, they want you to live in the house, but there's no law saying somebody can't change their mind.
So this originally was a rental property, right? And she still has another rental property as well, but she's not behind on that one. And so she's got this rental property, and she moved into it, and she sold the other property that she had that she was living in, right? She paid off a ton of debt, and she felt like she had to cover my uncle's debt who passed away. I mean, it sucks. I don't know why she did all this, but whatever. So she did what she did, and now she's fallen behind on this house, where she's at now. So she's got another rental property, like I said, and I've tried to get her to sell that one, but it's because my uncle owned it that she doesn't want to get rid of that. She's one of those people, she's just attached to everything. You know what I mean? Sentimental reasons. It's sad that she won't listen to me, but
What if, Kyle, though, what if she sold this existing one that she's living in now and then moved into the uncle's home and got that thing free and clear?
I have tried to convince her to live there for the last 3 years now, and she won't do it.
So,
Eric, I'm serious. We walk
Yeah.
into that house right now. It literally has my uncle's piano. It's got his shot glasses sitting right there, like he's coming back tomorrow. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's that bad, and it's not like it's full of crap. Like I told her, just Airbnb it. It's like the guy was a golf nut, so everything on the wall. He's a bachelor. He's been a bachelor for 30-something years. Like there's even a freaking 300ZX in the damn garage, dude. and she won't touch it. She won't let anybody drive it. She won't, that's just, and she just pays the payment faithfully. She was like, when I'm ready to say goodbye, that's when I'll sell it. I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I don't know if you still have a mom that's living, that there's only so many things you can say to her before she's like, shut up, Eric, so that's kind of where we're at. It's just kind of like, shut up, Kyle. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm trying to help you out of this other situation. So if you don't want to sell, your brother's house, or you don't want to move into it, then we got to figure out what to do. And she's like, well, can you just give me some money to catch up on the bills? And I'm like, I can, but that payment sucks, so if you actually think she would qualify for an FHA, I didn't even think that was possible, because I figured she was 3 months behind, and that wasn't going to fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think what Sean said, just let them know the situation. I'm at 9%. I can't afford that. And they'll look at the debt to income ratio and make sure all that checks out. But yeah.
Even if that property is inside of an LLC and it's not under her name.
Well, it would have to get refinanced in the LLC's name.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The only other workaround would be for her to.
It would have to get refinanced into her name, not the LLC name. The LLC makes it the corporation. So she would have to get it refinanced in her name in order to have the FHA.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Or what I was going to say is the only other option would be the LLC sells it to her and she buys it from the LLC with an FHA.
And how would that work? Could the LLC sell it to me in theory?
Yeah. Yeah, you can go to Amazon. You can go to an office supply place local to you. All these places, they have deeds. I would just get a special warranty deed. It maybe cost $15 on Amazon for a whole packet of them. Sign it, notarize it, pay $10 to $30 down at the county to record it, and then that's it. Boom, the deed's been transferred to your name.
So it's been transferred, but the mortgage is still around, right?
Well, yeah. So I mean, yeah. So like, if you were getting a loan, that would pay off the existing loan that she's got.
Right. But they wouldn't be able to foreclose in the meantime, right?
They still could. Yeah, they
Oh,
could. Yeah.
okay. I was
Yeah.
going to go ahead and cut them a check for, the 3 months, and then from there just kind of figure out what we're going to do. But I think I'm going to look into that FHA thing. I'll go ahead and catch her up anyway, just because I know it's worrying her, But after that, I'd like to try to get back into an FHA loan or something like that. So thanks for answering.
Yeah.
Kyle, you may
Yeah.
to not catch her up and then just use that money as the down deposit towards the transferring purchase, so that way you can transfer it out of the LLC, put it in her name as FHA, use that money as the down deposit, and then still knock off some of that loan at that same time. It'll have a lower interest rate by the time you do it.
If I didn't put it in her name, I could, in theory, put it in mine. Correct?
Yeah, but then she couldn't get an FHA loan to buy it from you until like roughly 6 months. That's the only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the LLC, she's a part owner of that with my father. You follow me? So, they put all their properties in one LLC. So, okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All righty. We could do a few more questions, guys. Then we could roll into deals. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, Gavin Newsom's a dick. Yeah, we could put that in there. You see the thing where he talked about the real estate?
No, to be honest. I don't really-
he issued a edict or a decree or whatever, a new law from California saying real estate investors can't offer pennies on the dollar to these people who lost their homes to try to scoop up the land for next to nothing. That they
That's
were going
crazy.
to go after predatory tactics, such as all the different ways that we contact them.
Yeah, a bunch of communists over there. It's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's always something. All right. Any other questions you guys got?
I'd like to talk or do we ever talk about land, or is it always just with a dwelling?
No, we do land. We do it all.
I haven't heard much on land. That's why I was asking.
I'll bring them up.
Yeah, wholesaling land. You're talking about like wholesaling land, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so like I've I've done a few land deals with wholesale and whatnot. I'd say the biggest thing with land though, it comes down to the location. So like up in Pennsylvania, a lot of woods, real rural, a lot of country. So like there's so much land, and it's just because there's so much supply, not a whole lot of demand for it, or more supply than demand. But
if you go to Florida, like where you're at in Tampa, or I'm up here in St. Augustine, then there's not a ton of land, right? So
yeah, so the only land deals I've done we're down here in Florida, St. Pete, Tampa.
Okay.
People are just building like crazy.
yeah.
So, yep.
Well, obviously, I have more questions for that, but that okay. Yeah, I'd like to cover that at some point a little bit. I don't have any other questions. I don't know if other people do.
You're good. I'm just dying over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Feeling good? We could do some deals if you guys have deals you guys want to check out. If you guys want to load up the chat.
What do you use for skip services? Or do you?
I've used them all. I've used, like right now I'm using Auto Leads just because I have access to the platform. But I've used REI Skip. I used Batch Leads, PropStream. Lead Sherpa is pretty good. So like if you got to skip an LLC or a trust, you could use Lead Sherpa and you'll get contact info for that. Good, solid contact info.
That's a paid site though, right?
They're all paid. Yeah.
Sherpa or whatever.
Lead Sherpa. Mm-hmm.
later this afternoon when I get back to my computer. I actually have a free LLC finder.
Like giving a name behind it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, that's pretty good. What I've realized is like a lot of like batch leads, PropStream, a lot of the skip tracing sites, they don't skip trace, the LLCs and the trust. And if they do, more times than not, it's not the right contact info. So it's like trying to skip the actual property. So if it was an LLC and it was a rental property, it's going to skip trace and pull the tenant's phone number. So most of the time, like when I'm playing with data, I won't skip the LLC or, pull corporate owned properties. And then if I got to skip an LLC or a trust, I'm always using Lead Sherpa. But a lot of good platforms out there.
Nice. I ended up having to use this for the overages business that I've been doing. So.
Yeah, no, it's good for that too. Definitely. Do you guys have any deals you guys want to cover? If not, we could do a topic.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up, Chris?
So what is the difference between putting like properties under an LLC, which is obviously a business formation, versus putting them in a trust?
Yeah, so an LLC, that's an entity, just like us as people, right? I have a social security number. LLCs, they're an entity and they got an EIN. That's basically a social for the company. So the difference between an LLC and a trust is an LLC is an entity and a trust is not an entity. A trust is simply a legal document specifying who controls an asset or controls the trust and who receives the benefits from what's in that trust. Does that make sense? I'll say that one more time. So the LLC is like an entity, right? Like you're your own being, I'm my own being, A1 Assets, it's its own being, it's its own entity. And a trust is not an entity. So a trust is, again, a document. Think of just like a piece of paper. It's a document, and that document will specify who controls what. So a trust can own assets, but a trust is not an entity. It's a little bit of a confusing concept to wrap your head around at first.
Yeah.
But
is it like a tax benefit to put it in a trust versus?
There's the trust game gets really, really deep. I'm no expert by any means with trust, but a couple things. One of the most common uses of a trust is for kind of like estate planning. So if I have a piece of real estate in a trust, well, that trust could specify or have multiple trustees, meaning that like if I die because the property is owned by the trust, maybe there's instructions in that trust as to who that gets passed to or who takes over that trust. And again, the property's owned by the trust. Does that make sense? So a lot of people, they'll use the trust to be able to transfer real estate in family as people pass, stuff like that. Also lets you avoid having to go through probate or needing a will. Well, maybe the will would still specify the trust, but I'd say like one of the bigger reasons is going to be that. And then you have other investors that use the whole trust game for anonymity. So, just some layer of protection. So if you look up like, who owns that house on 123 Main Street and say I'm the owner of 123 Main Street. If you look up my house on 123 Main, you're not going to find Eric Schmidt. You're not going to find A1 Assets. All you're going to find is the 123 Main Street Trust. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Now, the only way somebody could find who's behind the trust is if you actually record the trust with the county. So, boom, now it's actually public record. Or the closing docs, right? So, closing docs, when you close on a property, you buy a piece of real estate, you sign the closing, the settlement statements. That's going to get recorded with the county too. And so I could go to the sale, I could go to property appraiser, look at the purchase contract, look at the closing docs and see who signed, right? So you might be able to see, who's behind 123 Main Street? Oh, the 123 Main Street Trust. All right, that's who bought it. Let me see who signed off on that closing doc for that trust, if that makes sense. Oh, I see Eric Schmidt signed off for the trusts. But that doesn't, this is where it can get a little deep, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the one behind it. I might be behind the trust and then I have Kendrick as a power of attorney to sign on my behalf. So Kendrick has zero say or control. He has no piece to the trust. but it's almost like a bluff, so like now they see Kendrick's name. Oh, Kendrick's got to be behind it, but he's not. And because I don't record the trust document that's sitting in my filing cabinet, the only way you're going to find out who's behind the 123 trust or whatever is to go to my filing cabinet and open up the doc. You're not going to figure it out any other way. There's a few different ways I've explored with how to kind of layer all that. But to keep it light, that Chris is just kind of like another angle how people will use the trust and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like you're describing more of a land trust option.
Land instead of
Eric.
land sale. Yep, a land trust.
Yeah, land trust, you can definitely get away with that. You can literally walk into the title company on closing day and write, you're purchasing an XYZ land trust, and then create the land trust that at that moment with a document. That's it. Yeah, but as far as like living trust and stuff, those are a little bit different vehicles.
Yeah.
But I use land trust for everything. In fact, I would have, if this was my property that we're speaking of earlier, that would have been in the land trust. So,
Yeah. A lot of benefits to it.
yeah. I know a lot of states don't have land trust, though. They just have like a regular irrevocable or revocable or living trust, that kind of stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. A lot of use cases.
Are you still pulling properties out of the Tampa area from all the flooding?
A little bit. Yeah, we just got another one that came in yesterday that I was looking at. They got flooded. Not a whole lot though. What we've noticed is, because we were ripping them from the get for at least a month, and quickly we realized a lot of these people they're way overpriced. And then you got 1,000,001 wholesalers coming in, contracting these deals left and right. One guy contracts it at full ask, they terminate. Contract with another wholesaler, they terminate. And then they, little by little, as they're flopping and losing deals, they're coming down on the price. So I'm noticing a lot of reductions in the price, but I don't think I think we're close, but not quite there yet to where most of the people are realistic with the pricing and whatnot. So a lot of the flood damage stuff, I'm still just kind of passing on.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of that in sub 2 in general, man. Like, these people come in, like there's one contract I just did not too long ago in November. The guy before him, the house was valued at $347 and the guy offered $425,000. And he was like, I'll pay you $425. If you hold off for 5 years and let me take over the note. And the very first month he didn't pay. Like, he was late the very first month. And the lady was just panicking and saw one of our signs, and she called, and we ended up just closing on it for cash. We gave her, I think it was 200 and I don't know, it was like 87 or something like that, whatever it was that was owed on it. And we gave her like 10,000 up above that. But she was scared because of the previous guy. She's like, I don't want to hold the paper. I don't want to do that, So,
Can I ask you, how'd you get the deal, even though you already had the deal and he was in contract or whatever? However,
so that wasn't my deal. That was another guy that had wrapped it up in a sub 2.
And I know he wrapped it up, but is it that easy to take it away from him? It was in contract and with a clause that if he misses.
Yeah, he missed the payment, and then he was about to miss the second one, and I just called him up and I was like, "What the heck are you doing, man?" And he was like, "Dude, I'm underwater. I can't handle this. Basically I got over my skis,
Got it.
And I'm like, I said, okay, well, I tell you what, man, she's gonna basically file. There was like this clause inside the document. It wasn't a clause. It was a kickback. Basically, it kicked it back to her if in the event of him not doing what he said he was going to do, and it was already in the trust, so he at least did that part right. And so I said, well, we're just going to take over the trust. I was like, you just go away and count your lucky stars that it's not worse than it could have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you guys can do though is any time you assign a creative finance deal, always put in the first right of refusal clause, and it's exactly what you're talking about, Kyle. So if they default, I have the first right to take back that deal, and I could reassign it. I could take it on for myself, do whatever.
Yeah.
First right of refusal is really important. The clause that I think you're probably talking about that was in there, I would imagine would be like a deed in lieu clause, you know, something that would quick claim the deed back and avoid a foreclosure. Well, I guess it was only sub 2, right?
Yeah, my attorney handled it. I gave it to Michelle, which is my attorney up here in Jacksonville, St. Augustine area. And she was like, "Oh, this is easy." She goes, "There's, you know, the language in here allows us just to, you know, basically get rid of this and kick it back to her." And I was like, "Okay, cool." The fact that it was already in a trust made that even easier because technically, all we had to do was just assign beneficial interest again. The trustee was actually another lawyer, so my lawyer just contacted that lawyer and said, "Hey, listen, we need you to change the beneficial interest back to your client. You know, this is from your client to this other lady who was the original seller." And the only thing that got a little hairy is that lawyer threatened to report the whole deal, saying that it was all shady and he didn't like it, and he tried to talk the girl out of it to begin with, and all that stuff. But other than that, I mean, you know,
who is he threatening to report it to?
He told Michelle that he was going to call the elder abuse people. He felt that they were abusing his client.
That's wild.
And well, you know, I asked Michelle, was there any truth to that? And he said, she's like, you know, I've heard a lot of angles. She goes, but I've never heard that one. She was like, in theory, if like the family got involved and stuff, she's like, that could get pretty ugly, you know, with the elder abuse type angle. I was like, I never thought about that. So
did she sign like a bunch of seller acknowledgments?
She did, yeah. But even with the seller acknowledgments, the way that Michelle said it, she goes, you know, there's nothing to state that person wasn't under duress or whatever, like, and she wasn't in her right mind. And even if she says she was in her right mind, there's, you know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing. She was like, if they really wanted to press it, she said, and she had a son of hers that lived in Colorado. She was like, if her son would literally get on a plane and come down here and he wanted to press it, he could probably do some stuff. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean, you know.
Did you end up buying it outright?
We bought it for cash. We did a double close. We closed it out, then turned around and sold it.
Nice.
Made 17,000 on it. We probably could have made a lot more, but you know, the other guy needed to put in about 60,000 in repairs, is what my estimate was at the time, and I wanted to make it good enough and juicy enough for him to do it. And I knew he would close immediately, and I was like, $17K for a couple days of work, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
That is, I will speak to that. If other horse sellers are on here and you're kind of new, don't balk if somebody offers you 5 and you're like, I'm holding out for 15 or whatever. Like, if it's your first deal, or if it's just you literally have spent a day on it, just sell it, get it done, go on to the next one. There's 15,000 around the corner, you know.
So do you
do what, Eric?
Versus asking, I think.
So do you, like, did you actually step up and buy it for cash and then flip it over, or did you actually wholesale it?
We did what's called transactional lending. Eric can fill you in more on that since this is his baby, but you can borrow money for 24 hours and you pay the first person off, and then you turn around and then you sell it. And then with the proceeds from that, the title company then pays your transactional lender off. And
you really just double closed it, right?
Correct. A double close. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
With states like Illinois, I've done 2 of them in Illinois. I had to do it that way. You know, there's like certain rules or whatever. I heard Illinois, so I was like, I don't even want to get into it. You know, we'll do a double close. It's fine.
Yeah, that's an easy way to go about it.
The only thing that sucks is, you know, your taxes and your closings and, you know, all those fees.
Yeah. Yeah, coming out of the spread. It just says iPhone. Who is this that put this deal in?
Me, Mark. How are you?
Mark. Hey, what's up, Mark? All right, so subject to on a short sale is the angle?
Yeah. that was my thought on it, to call it up and see if we can get it sub 2.
All right. Have you spoke to them yet?
No, honestly, I was just looking as we got on this chat, and but if you can, I'll give him a call first.
No, I'll give it a shot.
Sure.
Let's see. I feel like I haven't made one of these phone calls in forever. I haven't been calling these short sales in a long time.
Probably going to start see a lot more of them, Eric.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I can convince Nate Jerkowitz to come back. He's actually in your area, I think.
Who is it?
Nate Jerkowitz. He was the short sell kid.
I haven't heard of him.
Oh yeah, he got in big trouble because he got people to do creative BPOs, and then he would call the mortgage company and be like, "Hey, I have a BPO." He didn't tell them that the BPO was basically bought and paid for by him, and he'd be like, you don't have to go off of this, but this will help you do your job. And he'll give them the BPO, and then the appraiser at the mortgage company would be like, "Yeah, we'll use that." And so they would use that value, and then he would be able to basically steal the property for hardly nothing,
Damn. Is he in jail now?
Oh, he did go to jail, yes. Yeah. He was arrested. I mean, it was a big deal down in Tampa area.
What was the dude's name? I'm going to look that up.
Nate Jerkowitz or Yerkowitz? I have to spell it. Now he's a totally different venture. He's a realtor again. He took forever to get back into the game, but I mean, it scared the living piss out of him. Let's put it that way. NateJurewicz.
I'll look him up. That's crazy. You got to be careful with the banks. I really tried not to mess with the banks as much as possible.
I'm even careful about saying I will anything like way before I met you. There was this guy in Texas that I took a course with, and he used to talk about Dodd-Frank laws all the time, and especially after like 08, 09, 010 and the changes. And he was like, we never tell people we will take over their debt. He was like, we always say we will make the payments on your behalf. And I was like, is it really that important? And he was like, absolutely. Not to knock what you teach. I'm just saying that's just, what, even with that, I've always just been like super careful because I'm like, you never know,
That is true. I mean, you could say, yeah, we'll be taking over the loan. And then they're making an assumption that it's an assumption. You're assuming the loan. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know I've heard you say that a bunch. Like, are you familiar with us taking over the debt? That kind of thing. And I get what you're saying. But in theory, it's the same thing. But I don't know. After you've been through 3 lawsuits, like which I have, it's a little scary. So.
What were the suits all related to sub 2?
The suits have been in real estate in various avenues.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna say it's all sub 2. One of them was, but the other 2 were not.
I've had my fair share. They're never fun.
No.
Did you guys hear about the wholesale queen or whatever that got busted or whatever? Well, I ended up having a scare on the close that I just did last Monday. The credit union that I was going through wanted a P&L for my company that had no profit and no loss.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And it was starting to look like it was mortgage fraud. And I mean, it was just all kinds of red flags coming up. I got it worked out to where the business actually reflects the business and not the real estate. And then the property went into my name. But that was a scary fucking weekend, I tell you. I was panicking the whole weekend.
How many novations have you done, Eric?
Well, I do what's called what I call a listing program. Some people look at that as an innovation.
Like a wholesale?
No, not really. I guess you could maybe say it's technically innovation, and I don't know, over 100 for sure.
So, like, are you putting anything into the property, or are you just turning around and listing it?
Nope, contract listed for top dollar, dump it.
Okay, so that's a wholesale in my language. Same thing. The only time I've run into any problem with that, I did not get sued. I had a broker basically threaten to report me to the DVPR here in Florida, even though I'm not a real estate licensed guy. So I'm like, well, what is that going to do? But I am a contractor, so he threatened to, kind of mess me up on the contracting side. So I was like, you're an asshole. So I just walked away from it. I was just like, forget it, ever since then.
Eric, when do you use a listing program like that?
Just so you know, I just called I called them 4 times, no answer.
No worries. No worries.
So like my whole flow has always been, I'm going to offer wholesale. I'm always going to try and source wholesale. And I'd say like, it's always been data. That's kind of been my game. So, always try and pursue a wholesale deal when I can identify like, all right, no shot for wholesale, pitch them on creative, in anything in the creative, right? So seller finance up to novations, hybrids, the whole 9. And then if that doesn't work, then I'll pitch them on the listing program.
Which just means you're just going to list the property. Will you give them a piece of the action, or you just buy it?
Well, the pitch is along the lines of like, hey, it's not going to work for us buying it outright. We do offer a program. I would have to get you qualified, but this program would allow for you to get the house listed with a licensed agent, somebody I work with. Except the big difference is you don't pay any closing cost or commission. So you want $100,000, any other agent that you list with, they're going to charge you 5%, whatever it is.
Right.
So that $100,000 through this program, you pay nothing. That $100,000, that's what you walk away with. So the buyer pays the closing cost and they pay the commission. And then they eat that up, man.
Do they ask what you're listing? Because only kickbacks I ever have is, we did do it like several hotels, and they'll be like, hey, you listed it on Zillow for $290. Like, I thought we were doing it for $250, you know what I mean, or whatever, right?
Yeah,
that's the only
I've had that happen.
How do you handle that?
Yeah, so Eric, I signed for 100. Why is it on Zillow for 130? Well, obviously we're going to try and get a little bit more, and we have to cover the buyers. We got to cover the agent's commission, the closing cost, and we got to make something. But obviously we're going to try for a little bit more first and see how people respond. The other thing too is if we put it up just for 100, people are going to come in. Oh yeah, we'll do 90, we'll do 85. So if we do 130, they'll come in and say, hey, I'll do 120, or I'll do 100, or I'll do 115. So I kind of just play on that angle. One, like I told you, the buyer's going to be paying all these expenses, so that's worked into the price. And then obviously we want to start a little bit higher so we can get offers that cover everything, can get you the 100. And I've never, to be honest, I maybe had a small handful of people that, no, I don't want it at that price, or make it lower, or how much are the fees then? But more times than not, they're just, oh, okay, yeah, all right, yeah, whatever. Okay, I was just curious. Most of the time it's not an issue. But that's like the whole game. And then my real estate agent, I'll get her in contact with the actual seller. And then what's so cool about like how I kind of operate this listing program, if you will, is like I said, I connect the agent and I connect the seller. So all the showings, they're coordinating. So I'm not in the mix. And
right.
I just sit back and wait for offers. Christine, the agent, she'll call me up. Hey, Eric, yeah, we had 5 walkthroughs and this guy made an offer at 100. Do you want to counter him? So I'm just in like a fun spot of like, yeah,
so
counter him at 105.
How does the agent, is the agent like a wife or a girlfriend of yours, or an actual third party?
Third party.
Okay. So how does the agent justify sharing information with you on the deal when she has a fiduciary duty?
Because she doesn't. So this becomes a huge debate in the broker space,
Right.
I've had many brokers have many different opinions. Same with the attorneys too. So I've done it multiple ways with the logistics and how this actually plays out with the paperwork. So the first time or early in the game, what I was doing is I would sign the listing docs with my agent, and she's representing me, and I'm paying her full commission. So there is 0 listing docs signed with the actual owner, and we double closed the deal. So technically I owned it when she represented and got paid from me on that second transaction. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I was the actual owner, and that's the technicality of I could represent him and receive commission from Eric because he technically was the seller of this transaction, if that makes sense. Then I've had other brokers say, oh, we can't list the house because you're not actually the owner of the property yet. And I'm like, well, my contract states that I have the right to list it with an agent. They're
Right.
like, no, we're not comfortable doing that. The owner has to sign the listing docs. So what I've done in those situations with those agents is the owner is going to sign listing docs for 0% commission. And when there's no commission, there's no fiduciary. What's there to be fiduciary in? There's no monetary gain for the agent. So fiduciary, some people say fiduciary is going to go out the window because there's no commission. And then they sign another set of listing docs with me for the full commission. So they sign 0% listing docs for the owner, not looking out for their best interest or anything like that. That is why they could just put it on the market for whatever price. And then they're bringing offers to me. So it's kind of gone both ways. And then the third way, I had this one lady, really, really smart lady. I think she was like almost, I don't know, too into it. Like it was against her own will, or she was like almost too smart for her own good, I guess is like what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And she wanted me to go to the angle of like, yeah, we're gonna have the owner sign listing docs at 0%, and then the owner, we also want the owner to sign a power of attorney with you, and then another addendum over here. And it was just like too much. I was just like,
So
no.
we've done the power of attorney, which is how we do the wholesale. So they do a power of attorney with us, and then we turn around and list it on their behalf. And then we list it for whatever we want to list it for, and then the commissions and everything are paid out of that, and then they get the proceeds that we agreed upon. We never tell them that we're going to make X number of dollars. Like in our clause, it says you're comfortable with us making a profit, even though it may seem audacious at times.
But they're not, Kyle. They're not signing a listing agreement with you, or I'm sorry, the seller's not signing a purchase contract with you, right? Or are they?
The seller is we signed a purchase contract with them to begin with. And then in our contract, it states that we have the ability to quote unquote market the property using the following methods. And then it lists I think it's like 20 something methods, direct mail, bandit signs, whatever it is. Right. And then when they do the purchase and sale agreement, if they, agree upon, we have them go ahead. If we're doing a wholesale, we have them sign. We have 3 documents. One's purchase and sale. Second one is disclosures, letting you know that we intend to make a profit off of this and that you're aware of that and you're comfortable with that. And then the third one is a power of attorney.
Yeah, that's another way to do it. They don't just so I don't know if I said it wrong earlier. We don't disclose like what we're making. So like the extent of the pitch is fees, closing costs, commission that's paid from the buyer on top of your number. And I just leave it at that. Gets paid from the buyer. Okay, yeah, sounds great. All right, sign here. That's it. Done. Throw it up.
Yeah, my lawyer had to start using the power of attorney. So
I'd say it's all preference. Some attorneys, power of attorney, others, no, I don't think you need it. It's nothing but opinions.
So the reason I think we started doing it, Eric, is because a lot of my stuff is elderly people. And I just, I didn't want to ever be seen as taken advantage of, almost like that one I told you about. That's always been in the back of my mind. And I think that's just from my personal view, because I saw my own grandmother be taken advantage of by a investor. And when I was taken advantage of, her house was worth $300,000, and I think he paid her like 108 or 110, something like that. And none of us knew about it until it was way too late, right? And had we known about it, we would have been like, no, the value is this. Like, if you want to take a haircut, I understand, but not $200,000 in haircut,
That's where I feel like ethics though plays in. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think a lot of people, they just they get blinded by the dollar signs, and they
do.
Karma comes and gets them. So my head's at I'm not I'll present whatever. It doesn't matter if I think it's good for you or not. I'll present whatever it is, but I'm only willing to push on what I'm presenting, or I'm only willing to push a certain thing if I really believe it's like the best thing for somebody. Like if I drop like, hey, my cash offer is $130, I'm not going to push that on somebody unless I believe like, yo, 130 is your best option.
Right. I've
So-
always said, like, you know, I picture it as, you know, especially if it's a woman on the line and she's older, I'm like, you know, would I give this advice to my grandmother?
Yeah.
Or would I want someone else to give this advice to my grandmother? You know,
Yeah, this is another great way to see it.
that's
for
all.
sure.
That's all we used to teach our salespeople when we had a sales floor. We don't have a sales floor anymore, but the acquisition people, I would say, hey, this is what I would do.
Every solution, you know, if you do the guys, like you do the wholesale, you do creative finance, you do the listing program, like there's going to be the best solution for, like one of those three will be the best solution for the person. If they're in distress, cash deal is going to be the best. They want to make as much money as possible. Creative finance is going to be the best. They want to get top dollar, but they don't want to, and they want to sell it relatively quick. Listing program is going to be the best. The other thing too, Kyle, I'll say this since we're talking on the program, what I would pitch to is always 90 days or less. It's going to be wrapped up. And so it would always be like, as far as like price with this program, it's always at their rock bottom. So not me coming up with a number saying, hey, we have this program and we could do it for this number. It's always like, all right, 100 is your rock bottom. I can't do that cash, but we could get you the 100 on, you know, with this program we got going on. So it's never, ever us shooting a number to them for the listing program. But
Right.
But the other thing too, that like, all right, why don't I just list it for, you know, top dollar with an agent? Then it works out to be almost the same. The other big trade-off is the speed for these people. So always set to close in less than 90 days. More times than not, we do pull that off. But the reason we could do that so quick is because it's going to go on the MLS, but it's also going to get emailed, texted, to thousands of buyers all over the country, posted on every single platform too. So like the exposure is just a lot more higher than just an MLS listing. So they would gravitate like, oh wow, that sounds really good. I do want to sell it fast, but I need this number. Perfect. This is a great solution for you.
Do you tell them that you have realtors on your team?
Yeah. We got an agent that I work with. She would be the one to put it up. You know, for everybody else just listening to all this with the like I'm not licensed, so don't ever, any of you guys not licensed, don't ever claim that you're putting it on the market, that you're listing it.
Correct.
Because that is a huge no-no. You're getting in a lot of trouble. So just make it abundantly clear. I work with a real estate agent and he or she will be the one to list it on the MLS.
Yes. After getting yelled at by several brokers earlier in my career, I 100% agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, I remember when I went to go and get licensed years and years ago, and this lady was like, yeah, my brother, he wasn't licensed. He was pretending to be an agent, and now he's in jail for the next 10 years. And that like woke me up as an 18-year-old. I'm like, holy crap. Like, this is no joke.
It's funny. All
Alex,
sides of my family has licenses and stuff in real estate, and I just never did, you know. My uncle always gives me a hard time. He's like, you know, you're brokering without a license. I'm like, I said, no, I'm not. And he goes, are you putting a seller and a buyer together? I'm like, yes. And he goes, you're brokering. I was like, whatever.
an opinion.
Yeah,
What's up, Alex? What do you got, man?
yeah, I got this two leads that I'm actually working on right now that the agents, they both send me over information on the properties. And like one of them is actually going through state sale, but it's actually distressed. It's actually it's like 6,000 square feet.
They're way high on this
I
price.
know. Yeah, that's one. But they actually like I was actually talking to the agents and because it's actually on the market for a long time. I told them I was actually trying to negotiate the price.
To be honest, I think personally I would pass on this one.
300 days on market.
They're just way overpriced. We could probably pay maybe like high twos, maybe threes, but I mean they got to drop over 200.
Wait, I think I send over an email. Let me see the exact offer that I made on it. Look right here. Send over offers or. It's because like I don't know because I'm just new in the game and I'm trying to actually structure so many offers. It's like keeping tracking on all my leads. It's kind of overwhelming. I ain't gonna lie.
You're using Podio with Xander though, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I would, once you get that CRM down pat and you know how to do the daily follow up and whatnot,
Mhm.
it becomes a really simple, easy flow. So like if you feel like Alex, like you're still like maybe a little confused on it, I think there's probably just some things to work out. So I mean, if you wanted me to help you with that, I can.
Yeah, even today early on, Xander was actually showing me like how it actually really works and how to actually understand my filter because today's when I really found out how to work the filter. Because normally, I would actually looking for the word that says filter, but I wasn't paying attention to the cone like to actually say that's the filter and that's what I clicked on to say I clicked on the creative and who actually created this deal and the days on that I actually doing the follow-ups on and stuff like that. So
That
today
makes
was the one I really catch a little hang of it because
Okay.
most of my time,
No, I'm hearing you.
like I said, most of my time I was actually just focused on trying to learn as much as I can while trying to follow up on some of my offers that I had actually previously working on. So it's like I was actually just back and forth trying to put everything together. Like now Xander come on with the Podio. Let me have a little understanding of how to restructure on my follow ups even more better. Because for a second I was really kind of all over the place.
So, do you have your offer on this one?
So the offer, let me pull it right here. This is this is what's now. Okay, right here. One second, let me pull this up right here.
Still looking. While you're looking for that, I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna grab some water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, my email is all over the place. Yeah, email. Yes.
You look for that. I'm gonna start exploring the second one.
For the other one, they actually going through a divorce. With the other one, I actually made
This
an
one in
offer.
Lee Hayden.
I hadn't make an offer fully on that one, but I was actually thinking about making a creative offer because I noticed that the property actually got sold in 2020,
22. Yeah,
Yes,
this is
I was
perfect.
asking
You want me to call as your partner and try and get him?
Yes, most definitely.
The
He
first
actually
one.
sent me over the full information on all the documents and stuff like that, like I think the estate lease,
the loan statement. Wait, did you pitch sub 2 or creative to them or no?
Yeah, I pitched them sub 2 because I have an understanding of how to pitch this both the hybrid, the sub 2.
What would they say to it?
So for the sub 2, I haven't let them know fully of what I actually want to assume the loan as yet. That was supposed to go on another follow-up call. But for this one, based on how the agents was actually giving me further information, I didn't want to actually over explode his brain with so many offers. I was actually hoping I could go up on the second.
Wait, just so I'm clear. So this one right here on the screen,
Yes,
you did pitch sub 2 or didn't?
No, I didn't pitch sub 2, but I got the informations on what I actually need to get to actually pitch. But I was actually saying because you have a loan, I'm gonna think about trying to come up with an offer to actually structure so let you know that listen, I'm actually with cash because I'm not a first time home buyer this one, so I'm not gonna try to come and assume and I'm not trying to come with an offer, try to go get a loan and actually come and take over and this loan.
I'm gonna let's do this then. I'm gonna call this one right now as your partner, and while I'm doing this, just try and find your numbers on this first one.
Okay.
And then when do you speak to this one?
I speak to him early on today because he actually called me.
George or Cliff?
I think it's George.
Okay. Let's try this one. Here we go. It's ringing. And you spoke to him today?
Yes, I spoke to him earlier today. You know me as Alex.
Hold on. Hey George, my name's Eric. You spoke to my partner Alex about the house on Watson Park Boulevard. Yes. Yeah, I just want to reach out. Like I said, I'm his partner. I'm working with Alex. I'm the one that's local, so I'm in the Poconos. He's a little ways away. So I'm just calling you. We're super interested in this one. I just want to get a little more info and then see if we could try and piece together an offer. He was telling me, and I see here they just bought it in 22, right?
Correct.
So
They bought it.
345.
Yeah, they bought it, and they the idea was to like refinish the property and live there. And you know, sometimes marriages don't work, I guess, so they end up getting divorced.
Okay. They still have a loan on it, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, there's a loan. Yes.
All right. What's their goal with the sale at 370? Like pay commission, pay closing cost, and walk away? Are they trying to put a couple bucks in their pocket?
They're trying to put a couple bucks, put a couple dollars in their pockets.
Okay.
Which is 70. I had a couple offers in. That one guy came in at 325, and that was just too low. They weren't going to accept it. And then I had another guy, like you called me, saying, you know, we're going to do cash. Well, his offer was lower than the 325, and so they asked me, listen, we have to. These kids want to make a little bit of money, pay the closing costs, pay real estate commission, and go on with their lives.
Okay. Do you know roughly how much is owed? Just like super
don't
ballpark.
know. Yeah, I would say honestly, I don't know what the answer is to that, Alex. And you know, that's kind of a, you know, me saying they owe 200,000 on it, and you're going to come at me and offer 250. It's just not going to happen in this property.
No, where my head's at is, you know, they bought it for 345. So if they got an FHA, I already know that debt balance is for sure going to be higher than what I could do for a cash deal. Right. So like where my head's at on this to buy it as an investment would be to just cash them out of their equity and then take over the loan, you know, take over those payments. And then obviously, you know, take care of you, pay all the closing costs, but like that's where my head's at. So like whatever the debt
so that you're looking at giving 300,000 for the property price, something like that, and that's just not going to happen. You know, these kids are, you know, she's not working right now. They're trying to be very transparent with you. At the end of the day, they're trying to get $20,000 each from the property and move on to their lives.
Yeah, that don't work for me. But here's I'm a creative guy, so I think we might be able to do something good for them here. So where my head's going is I could maybe do 10,000 in each of their pockets today, and then they sell or finance the rest of the equity. So then they both get, say, like $500 a month for a little while. So they each get 10 grand. I take care of you, pay the closing costs, and they each maybe get something like $500 each month moving forward. And I mean, that would be a way for them to, you know, to just make a lot more on the deal altogether.
Let me talk to my broker, Cliff Lewis, about that to see what he says. And then I have your number saved, and I'll give you a call back.
Yeah, cool. Does that all make sense? Or like, do you have any questions with that?
I know what you're talking about. It's almost like you're assuming the mortgage and then, you know, paying closing costs and hopefully giving them some money. But I would need all that in some kind of contract, you know, to present to, you know, to make it, to get it where I want to, for legality standpoint, one thing, and also show my sellers are comfortable with what you're offering them.
Absolutely. So do you want it in writing or do you want to speak to Cliff first?
I may have Cliff give you a call. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that going to be today?
Let me see if I can get a hold of him.
All right. Yeah, I'm around for a little bit longer here. So if you get him, just give me a buzz back.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man. I think you got a good, what I love, what we were able to identify, they want 20 each. So that's what they care about. Could they be cool with 10 each? I think so. I
have this creative over. Normally, I would actually structure to have a little understand, making sure that the investor, at least the max they actually coming in with into the deal is like 15% cash. And knowing that for the cash entry would actually be the max of 15%. And the cash and cash return, I try to make sure it's at least the minimum of 13% on the cash and cash return.
Yeah, let's watch. Let's break out the numbers for everybody. So if it was a $370,000 purchase, we're gonna go off of like hypotheticals. Let's say they got a mortgage of 300, and that's a real possibility. Well, actually, you know what?
You give me all the statements and stuff like that. Let me
No
see.
worries.
So all right, ready? So we'll go off of hypotheticals, and then we'll get down to the actual numbers if they're open to it. So mortgage, let's say it's somewhere around 300. So what we would do is we do a down payment of 20, right? 20K. That's going to be 10 to the guy, 10 to the girl. And then if we're buying it for 370, then they're going to seller finance the equity, right? So that would be from 320 to 370, which would be what, 50, right? 50K is going to get seller financed, and we're going to do $500 a month to that.
So 500 above. So basically, I would actually
This is like this is
itemization of 30. Let me see if I get that right there. No, you say 500, right?
yeah, we'd pay them, and this is so rough. This is just like the idea, not the actual numbers. But the general idea, agree on a total figure, buy it subject to the debt, seller finance the equity, and obviously we'll give them a down payment towards the equity. Does that make sense? Now, Jason's saying not 500 each. Yeah, if it were to work, we'll do whatever we could pay them. The numbers might check out. They might have a real high mortgage payment, so not a lot of cash flow, and we can only do $200 to each person. Or maybe the mortgage payment that's relatively low, a lot of spread there, so we can make sense of 500 each. So like that number, it's up in the air until we see what can it rent for, what are all the expenses that already exist.
So when I actually estimate the rent for this one, I think it was actually I got 2,500. That's the potential rent for it. But I didn't get the mortgage, and no, I think I get the mortgage statement. I just haven't get the chance to fully look over the numbers because I was actually working on the other deal.
That's fine. Like right now, the goal is just to hook them on the idea, not actual numbers yet. If we can get them on the idea, then we'll probably be able to pull off the numbers. The big thing is the money in their pocket today. So would they be okay with 10 each today? If that's a possibility that they're open to, then there's a real shot that we do the deal. If they're good with 10 each, then that monthly payment, I'm sure we could hash out whether that's $150 a month or $500 a month. So we just want to hook them. The general idea, I'll give you 10 each, take over the loan, seller finance the rest of the equity. If we could hook them there, the rest of it should iron out. Should be pretty easy.
Yes. But for do you know how I know normally you actually try to structure a sub-tool by assuming the loan, but when it comes to like a conventional loan, normally when you're trying to assume a conventional loan, you'd actually structure it the trust way, right? Where you'd actually be beneficiary of both.
Well, we're never assuming a loan. So here, let me make this clear, right? So a formal assumption on any piece of debt means that loan comes out of my name as the seller, it gets put in your name. So I'm off of that loan. That's completely your loan, Alex. And when you do an assumption, you have to qualify, right? So you got to jump through all the hoops with the bank to qualify for the loan. But again, that loan gets pushed into your name. And also too, not, a lot of loans today, they're not even assumable. So keep that in mind. So we're really we're only really doing subject to, and then like the whole trust piece, Alex, like that's up to you. Some people put it in a trust, some people put it in their LLC. But when it comes to like the whole trust game on sub 2, people play the angle of you should put sub 2s into a trust and name the trust after the property or after the property owner, because that could make the bank think oh, nothing's going on here. But, they could easily still trigger that due on sale clause. There's not.
But for the federal law, for the Garnett-Jarmain Act, I don't know if you actually know about it. So I don't know how true it is when it comes to the Garnett-Jarmain Act from 1982, where it states that once a property placed into a trust, the loan could not be called due for federal state purposes.
Yeah. I already know where. Yeah, I wish our guy was here because he is a lender for 30 years. I know exactly where you learned that. That is for in-family transfers. If you go actually read that document, because I know who's teaching exactly that. Go read the actual document, and then you'll probably be surprised. Oh, this isn't for purchasing real estate. This is for in-family transfers. People are getting away with that stuff now. I'm telling you, playing that whole card. Try to play that angle. I believe it's going to catch up to people, and it has. Our guy, some of you guys remember, I'm blanking on his name. Lender for like 30 plus years. He's done a ton of sub-twos too, and he spoke on exactly this because somebody was asking exactly what you said. Oh yeah, that whole act. And he shared a couple stories when people got screwed, and then he also just spoke on the whole act, how that does not apply to what we're doing here. So I wouldn't say like the just because you move it into a trust, that does not eliminate the due on sale.
Mhm.
It could still be called due. So yeah.
No, I understand. Like I like the fact that I just come into the game and I'm actually hearing a lot of people saying this, a lot of people saying that, and I'm trying to do my research, and the fact that I'm not from the state, so I'm still trying to have my understanding of what is actually can do, what can happen, and I'm trying to learn the ins and outs. Because everybody actually saying this, and the next people saying that, so I'm really trying to find the right way to making sure that I'm still not getting caught up. So I'm still actually doing my due diligence and my research to see how true a lot of certain things is.
Yes, sub-2 is such a new popular topic. 10 years ago, dude, nobody was talking about subject 2. And so a lot of
heard with it.
Huh?
Pierce Morby actually heard with it. With sub-2.
Created it?
No, I heard Pierce Morby with it.
I don't know what you're saying.
Pace Morby.
Pace Morby?
Yeah, I heard with sub-2. I don't know if you know that person.
Oh god,
Yeah.
people way before him.
Yeah. No, I heard about sub 2 at a real estate meetup years before Pace was even on YouTube. I know Pace. He's a solid dude. What's your question there though with that?
I think he was asking if Pace created it.
Oh, no, yeah, no. Nope.
Yeah.
So Eric, can I speak to that real quickly? Because I actually had dealt with through that and the reasons that the loan gets called due. So the mortgage company, if they want to, they can basically say, hey, listen, you put this into a trust with the intent to defraud, right? So there is that possibility of them calling the loan due all the time. The Guard St. Germain Act was not designed so that you can create a sub-2 contract. That has nothing to do with it. Originally, it was just so that you can place properties in a trust for estate purposes. We're kind of gaming the system a little bit, and that's okay because we game the system in general with any real estate transaction, just about. But that particular one is becoming very, very gray area. And it's because a lot of people are just saying, oh, I'm just going to stick it in a trust and I can do whatever I want. And you can't call the loan due. And they tell the real estate agent, hey, when we do this, they can never call the loan due and you don't have to worry about anything. And that's when, people are getting pissed off when those things do happen. And they're like, you know what? You were basically intending to defraud me. That's why, or you were intending to defraud the bank. And the bank itself can then say, hey, we would have never approved you or whatever. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can go in different directions with that, Eric. I just wanted to say that. So
no, I appreciate you sharing that.
Can I ask, what's the primary way of handling a sub-2 then as far as transfer? Is it a
hope and pray they don't call the loan due.
So you're saying transfer title or I think I heard Eric say a couple of weeks ago.
I don't know how Eric does it, but at any point in time, it can be called. They can call it for any reason, that they want. When they are the lender, it's their right to do so. But the idea of putting in a trust makes the bank think that this is just a simple living trust, not that you're selling beneficial interest to someone else. They don't know until they ask to see trust documents, which in most cases are not filed. And so if you can't produce those trust documents, then they're like, well, hey, And that's when you just hope and pray. At least in our particular case, they don't ask for the trust documents, because then the trust documents show that beneficial interest has passed, to somebody else, right?
So are you saying you use a trust, or you?
Yeah,
No.
we use a trust in almost everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I use a land trust because I'm in Florida, but that doesn't work everywhere.
Right.
So,
Hey, Eric, what do you use for sub twos?
I've done both, to be honest. When I was totally new, really not knowing what I was doing, like I do now, I would do them in my personal name, LLC, and then the trust. That's something I've been doing the past 4 years now, maybe something like that. The big thing is, so like a lot of people, they get afraid of the due on sale clause, but it really shouldn't be a scary thing, and it doesn't happen. It does not happen often, So like you guys, Kyle, you might be the first person ever in this group to say like, yeah, I had a due on sale call due. I know Pace. I've spoken to Pace on this topic. He's 4,000 deep with the sub twos, and I think he told me only 4 or 5 have been called due. And out of those 4 or 5 that were called due, how it played out for him was the bank just wants to know what's going on. Like, yo, we see the deed transfer. What's happening here?
and that's what it was for me too, Eric. They just wanted to know what was going on, and then they asked for the trust documents.
So can I ask you a question?
Let me finish this real quick though.
Okay.
You threw me off a little bit.
Sorry.
Where is it going to go? No, you're good. You're good. So what I was going to say is, just because they call it due, or I'm sorry, they call it due, or they look into it, doesn't mean they're going to say like, hey, we want all our money today. They could very well just want to know who's behind it, what's going on. The other thing that he's told me has happened is, they just give a recommendation. So like, hey, what you can do, we're not cool with you having the deed. We're not okay with that. But instead of us calling it due, how about you just quick claim the deed back to the owner and structure it as an agreement for deed or a rent own or like a lease option? And that's going to be the easiest thing to do. And that could just be an additional clause. If note gets called due, deed will automatically be quick claim back to the seller. And the contract will remain in place as an agreement for deed. And all that means is it's the same deal, except the deed remains in the seller's name. But I still have the right to live in it, tear the house down, put a tenant in there, sell it for top dollar. I can do whatever I want because I'm maintaining full possession, right? The other perspective that's important, I think, to keep in mind is like with these banks, they have a performing loan list and then a non-performing loan list. So if you're making the payments every single time and you're not missing them, what's the point of them calling it due? They don't want the piece of real estate back. They're making like their product is a debt service, lending money out. So that's just another thing I'd like to keep in mind.
I'd like to see an example of that, Eric. Is that in the group somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
That clause.
Me too. I want to know.
Yeah, that's as simple as stating if the due on sale gets triggered, the deed will transfer back to the owner. The agreement will remain in place as an agreement for deed. That's not in my contract, but you could put that in there. Just throw it in the additional terms.
Yeah, it's not in mine either. I was just wanting to see what it looked like. So
here's I'll leave it. This is gonna be the last thing I'll say, and then Alex, I got you. One thing too is if you're going to be using, say, a servicing company, or the payments are now going to start being made from you, then what you should do, this could also kind of help, alleviate some of that risk, is start making the payments. And then maybe by month 3 or 4, that is when you transfer the deed. So the bank might see, the debt's being serviced by North Star Servicing Company, but the deed is still in Allie's name. So, all right, yeah, whatever. And then 3-4 months down the road, boom, then you switch that deed over, and now it's totally in the past. They're not going to go check and see like, did Allie switch the deed to Mark, or did she, did title transfer? So that's another little trick people do.
You make some set of payments first.
Make a couple payments first before you transfer the deed. Mm-hmm.
Like our 6-month payments and transfer after.
Yep. You could do that.
Is it something that we could actually put in the contract as a write-in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Alex is going to take full possession of this. So that is actually a separate doc, which I have. It's not in the Discord. I have to upload it, I think. But that would just be a pre-possession addendum stating that Alex gets possession of the property before it actually closes. And then you would also outline that the payments are going to begin upon possession. So Alex takes possession today. He's responsible for making the payments, and the close date is 90 days out.
Is it same as the pitching that I normally pitch to the agents, or it's saying that there's going to be a clause in the contract that states that if I was supposed to miss a 30 days of payments, the property would actually revert back to the owner without any defaults or something like that?
That'd be a default clause.
Yeah.
Yep.
The same thing?
Well, it's a little different. You know, that's like
Like I've been learning a bunch of stuff and my head is all over the place, but I'm really trying to put the puzzles together because I'm really being in my own headspace over here with this.
knowing Alex, like knowing you and your situation, your goals and whatnot. Like, dude, I think you should just double down on wholesale. Because creative ain't gonna change. Creative's not gonna change anybody's life tomorrow. You know, you get a free house today. You're not balling quite yet. Not until you build some equity.
No, it's just like for the leads, because I don't have the leads coming in right away. So normally I just be like, okay, because I'm seeing all the photos on Zulu and I'm using just only Zulu in a kind of sense within Facebook. So I just be like, okay, since the numbers and the details on Zulu, and because I'm calling all the numbers, so because I actually have a little understanding of how to filter it and how to structure my creative offers. And I pitch the creative offers really well, especially when I'm on the phone with the agent. I know more how to actually pitch it if it's a case where, as though you mentioned it, that they're going through the divorce, right? And I know definitely they're gonna want to actually at least go get a separate house by themselves. And I was actually thinking, that's what I was actually mentioning to the agent, say I definitely know that if I'm doing a down payment, I want to make sure that if they're going to take another loan, like a FHA loan, where they probably put on like 3.5% down, I understand that they're gonna actually want money to actually go put on a loan. So I understand that if I'm structuring the down payment, I'm gonna make sure they have enough equity to actually both go separately, go get a loan on another property, knowing that I'm actually making the monthly payment. So when I'm on the phone with the creative, I structure it so good, it and also with the cash offer. So I just know how to really make multiple offers on both of them. And I normally try to make both cash offer and creative offer in all my deals, where I'm actually structuring when I'm actually talking to the agents.
Let me ask you this though, Alex. What would you say, like, and this is probably going to apply to multiple people here. So like, what's the goal? Is it a financial goal? Like, yo, I'm trying to get money stacked up. Or is it more like, hey, the goal is not necessarily money stacked up, but more of like the long-term play? I want to start building a portfolio.
No, it's more likely for me just doing the same assignable. So basically me getting a property for a low interest rate, knowing that the cash flow and right for the buyer, and also that they're the way I structure it, letting them know that the payment's gonna structure through an escrow company, so the money payment's gonna make. So I normally like putting in every little details of how every structure gonna make. The clause, I always state of all of those details to the agents when I'm actually making any of my statements. So I start off with like cash, knowing that I normally put down like, okay, normally I need like 30% back on my investment if I'm actually making a cash offer, minus my assignment fee, or especially if it's a turnkey property. But if it's a distressed property, I normally like try to structure it by the light rehab, heavy rehab, and how I could actually estimate after the 7% minus the repair and plus my assignment fee. So I know how to actually really kind of structure it and try to run my comps to get an accurate ARV.
But what I'm trying to say, and I think this applies to a lot of you guys, like, it's important to just like, okay, I know you want to do both, but like, what is the actual goal? If the goal is monetary, right? So let's use this as an example. I want to make $100,000 this year. You're at $100,000 as a one-man band. That will not happen if you're still newer to wholesale and you're trying to learn creative finance and do those deals at the same time. It's not going to happen. My guess, you're going to be like sub 60. So, I mean, maybe you'll see 60 trying to chase both. But if you only focus on wholesale and that is all you do, then you're definitely going to hit 100 at minimum, especially if you're doing this full time. I would think realistically, Alex, like wholesale alone, and you're doing this full time, you should be 100 at least, like minimum. Very, very minimum.
It's like getting the leads.
But what happens is when you're playing creative finance too, I want this to really stick. Creative finance deals they're not going to change your life today, tomorrow, next month, or 6 months down the road. It's not going to happen. You know, $500 a month, that's nothing, because what happens is when you first get your first rental and you're making $500 a month profit, true profit, you don't touch that profit. That goes right into a sacred account, and you don't touch that money for as long as possible, if not ever. And that's going to go and be saved for future investment or for when issues arise, right? If you don't got freaking 10, 15 grand saved up for when something crazy happens, then you should never touch the cash flow until you have that chunk of money. So like when I first started, I was pissed that, you know, I didn't have a bunch of money saved up. I was still new to the game. And so all the money I was making, at least for the first couple properties for several months, I was just stacking that profit, stack the profit. And then when an issue arises, you know, the tenant trashed the house and we got to do a new freaking kitchen, or we got to do a new furnace. Now I got the money because I ain't touched the cash flow, if that makes sense. So like, you know, these creative finance deals, if the goal is like, yo, within 12 months, I want to make 100 grand this year, it's not going to, creative finance will not attribute a freaking penny to that financial goal you got. You know, the real money in creative finance, cash flow is cool, but cash flow really only starts to mean something. You know, I think once you're at like maybe around like 5,000 a month as a true net, like an actual net. Okay, now I could eat off and eat off, and use that money to eat, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But in the beginning, that's not going to be the case. Not probably for at least the first year, maybe a year and a half. You're not going to touch that profit on the rentals, unless you want to, and you got other money saved up. So
I wasn't thinking about requiring the rental properties personally. For me, I was thinking about assigning them.
Waste of time. You will make way more if the goal is assignments, and that's what it is. You don't even want these rentals. So now it's like, you know, the creative finance is way more complex than wholesale. So if your goal is just to make a freaking check assigning deals, why not just focus on the easier type of deals than the more complex? Creative finance is way harder than understanding wholesale. Like way harder. Once you understand both really well, then it's like, for me, I understand wholesale, I understand creative really well. So at this point, I could do more creative finance deals than wholesale personally. But when you're brand new and you're learning both, wholesale is a lot harder to learn. So it's going to be much easier to focus on wholesale to get to that 100K. You know, so if you're like, yo, I'm going to try and do both, one, you're not going to make money if you were to keep the rentals. And two, even if you do keep them, it's tomorrow money. You know, like where it made a huge difference for me was once I started selling the properties. You know, like the rental income was cool. Like, all right, yeah, we got quite a bit of money coming in every single month. But it wasn't enough to where like, all right, now it's such a fat check, I can go make a big play here. You know, like it's never going to be the bigger plays are more like on the sale or when you refinance. For me, I wasn't in a position to refinance when I was early on. So I was selling a lot of these and I would just cash out. Boom, made 40, boom, made 60, boom, made 80, boom, made 50. And like that was like the big like, damn, like, bro, I just got a fat check. And like, yo, all right, now I'm going to sell that one, put another 50. Now within freaking 60 days, now there's another 100 in the account. You know what I mean? But those moments, those don't happen today when you first acquire the property. You know, you're going to have to give it some time, unless you get to deal with some equity. But most of the time, it's going to take some time for them to appreciate, and that nice, real awesome payoff that's going to be down the road. So like anybody with a financial goal, like, dude, I want to make 100 grand this year, 100 grand. Like that's super easy to, any of you guys could do that. You know, within a year, really playing this game, really going at it. But you're only, you know, as a newbie, you're only going to get to 100K in the first 12 months if wholesale is the main focus. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't learn creative finance, because you should, but do it at the same time. So like, hey, I'm going to work wholesale, and then I'm going to just come on these Zooms and pitch creative finance, or the wholesale leads that I'm working. When wholesale doesn't work, then I'll pitch creative finance and maybe something would happen there. But I'm not just going to try and seek out creative finance deals. The other thing I wanted to point out too, Alex, is the leads that you pulled. So stuff like this, what were you searching? Did you do like a motivated seller search?
No, so basically I was actually just going through the properties looking for distressed properties, but I realizing that because I'm not finding as much distressed properties as I want to on Zillow, so I just started looking for the properties that got sold within the 2020,
I'm with you.
like around that time frame where I know that
I
they
would.
more motivated.
Okay, so I wouldn't compensate there. I would look to implement other lead generation strategies. So like this one off rip, if this did not have the word motivated sellers, I wouldn't have called on it because it's in really good shape. They can get a really good number for it, higher than wholesale, right? So like that alone is why I'm like, I'm not even going to call on it. This one's kind of on the border. It's on that border, like livable and needs a reno. Because it's such a high price point for the market, it's going to be really hard to sell. So I would pass on it for that reason alone. But I would just only look for the beat up stuff, Alex. And then if you exhaust all the effort, so you're doing the Zillow 1 days, we're looking at the backdated stuff on Zillow, we called on everything that's super beat up, then don't compensate by, all right, let me look at some of the iffy stuff, or the stuff that is livable, or the stuff that they just bought a year or two ago and now they're trying to sell. I would just go to other strategies to try and produce these leads. So that could be probates, excellent source. I just got a crazy lead this week doing that strategy. So Craigslist probate, Craigslist listings, like normal listings on there, stuff like that. You could do virtual drive for dollars. Somebody told me, I think Kyle, he's in our higher level mastermind, but he started doing a little bit of drive for dollars for fun, and he's doing deals doing that. He's doing more deals driving for dollars than other strategies he was trying. So you could do virtual drive for dollars, which is you go on Google Street View and you literally start driving. And that sounds like I'm telling you to do that because I know you're enjoying.
I've been doing that before, but it's just like if it's skip tracing the numbers. Like I didn't have the source to say I'm actually skip tracing the numbers. And when I actually have a partner of mine that he was a broker, he was actually trying to skip trace the numbers that I send over. But most of the time, when he actually send over, he was saying that he's not really getting the numbers, and even if he do get numbers, those numbers not accurate. Like I call him up and I'm not getting anybody. So
I don't know if you have drive, or I don't know if you have batch leads, but they have a feature called virtual drive for dollars, exactly what I'm telling you. And then you can click on the house, pops up all the info, phone number, then you call them. That it sounds so crazy, like virtual drive for dollars. Who would do that? But when I was an affiliate with batch leads and they told me about that, I was like, what? They're like, yeah, Eric, we want to do this video with you if you like using this new feature. I was like, all right. Like, I'm like, nothing's going to happen here. Like, dude, I'm calling off of Google Earth. And I kid you not, within 10 minutes, dude, I had like a home run deal. Yeah, the house is super beat up. My husband passed. We need it gone quick. Like, and I was like, holy crap, this does work. And then I kept doing it for a little bit and generated more leads with it. So it does work. Like that's another thing you can do. But I would definitely do the Craigslist probate leads. That's killer, really good source. Craigslist, and then if you still have more time, then you could do drive for dollars or stuff like that. Other wholesalers.
like I only got all the time in the world. I just be focused on this real estate because.
Yeah, dude. So like your goal, this is kind of like the math. They say if you can make anywhere from 3 to 5 offers a day and you could do that for 30 days, you're guaranteed one deal. So let that sink in. If you can make 3 offers a day and you follow up on those offers on a daily basis, you're guaranteed a check.
Let's put it to work.
Yeah. So something to think about, just the flow. Since we're kind of just, we got questions. Kendrick, you got something?
Yeah, bro. What's up, Eric? I just had a question about the position to work with you. I can ask later, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Was it the acquisition role or the disposition?
Either one. Just wondering how fast I can get on the team because I'm ready to fire my boss. I'm tired of this, Eric.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Hey, fire please. I'm tired of mine too.
I'll put the link in the chat if any of you guys are interested. The team's freaking growing, man. This is the A1 team 2.0, really. It's all virtual if you guys haven't heard. So, to work from home. We are on Zoom all day, so just to have that really clear, it's Monday through Thursday at the given moment, from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6 p.m. Eastern. So that's 9 to 5 Central. Camera's got to be on, so we're on camera all day. But it's solid, awesome team. And to be honest, I think Kendrick, my opinion is it's probably one of the fastest ways to actually make money, for a couple of reasons. One, like you're forced to work. Like we talk about this all the time. Like when you're doing this on your own, dude, it's so easy to like, I'm going to get up, get a snack. I'm going to get a sip of water. Oh, I don't want to make the phone call. Whatever the case is, we've all been there. And especially discipline, at least I'm keeping it real with you guys. Discipline for me took time. From going from homeless to making over $100,000 a year, like, dude, I was content. I was like, bro, I'm good. I'll do the bare minimum. And so that's what I did. And so it took some time to get that discipline muscle kicked in to where like, I can crank 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. It just takes time to get there. So like in the beginning, the nice part about the team is the discipline. You're held to actually showing up and putting in the work. The other thing is the stats too, tracking the KPIs, making sure like I know what it takes to do 3 to 5 deals a month. It's not rocket science. When you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So when you jump on the team, I'm putting you in a position to do multiple deals a month. And I know what that's going to take. And so those KPIs, those stats, me tracking you, having management watching over you, that's going to quickly push you into that position of doing multiple deals a month, relatively quick. So, that's the big thing. You earn money fast, you learn fast too. And, if you guys haven't heard me say it, if you guys are interested in the team, I don't look at anybody as, like, if Kendrick joins, I hope he's with me forever. I know that's not a realistic expectation. So I know some people, they're going to want to join the team and rock with us for 4 months so they could soak up as much as possible, close a few deals and then dip. And I got no problem with that. That's totally fine. We both benefit. So just keep that in mind too. I'll throw the link in the chat if anybody's interested.
So are you gonna review it and then?
I don't. Grant, he's another owner of the company, so he would review it, reach out to you, and schedule an interview.
Okay, cool. All right, brother. So much.
Hey, man. Arthur, you got a question?
Yeah, on the partnering for you, is it only specific areas you choose, or can it be like any market? Like, could I drive around in my city and look for deals and call them up and then pitch them over to you?
Yeah, all 50 states. I say the biggest thing with the markets is we just can't be like in no man's land. So if it's like there's like 5 streets in the whole town, that's not going to work. But
oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm in El Paso, Texas.
I don't know that market. Dense, I'm guessing, somewhat dense.
Yeah, not a small town. Like there's like a Fort Bliss military base. It's like right near Juarez. It's a pretty huge city. Like it's nothing small for sure. It's bigger than Midland and Odessa.
Yeah, that's fine. The biggest thing, like I said, like as long as there's more than like 10 streets in the whole city, then
okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, for sure.
That was my question. Thank you.
I would have hooked it up. I thought you were like waiting for.
So there was the troll. It's not though. What's up, Mike?
Oh, what's up, dude? So I put a Butler PA in there, and we got a John that's willing to unload it. He's at 55. I want to get him lower if we can. Down for that?
I'm totally down.
He sounds cool. He's got moving out of there. It's like a 1.5.
Oh, you know what though? I think Butler's tough, really depressed. Let me double check though. I think so. Pittsburgh.
Right outside Pitty, yeah.
I feel like I've looked at stuff in Butler from other people. This could potentially be tough to dispo.
I mean, we'll see how low we could probably get him. He's 55.
20 days on market.
Yeah. and they're ready to unload.
What's your ARV on it?
I would say it's got to be at least 90, right?
Did you comp it or no? If not, I will.
Yeah, I was thinking like 90 because of the like 90 per door thing. But I sort of comped it. They just came off 15. I mean, 35 for it. That's where I'd be at. Again, even if you end up with it for 35, you rent it out for a stack, like a band a month minimum. But I'd look at dispo on that.
You're definitely over 100. It's just like, I don't think anybody's flipping real estate really over here. So I think it's going to be really hard to sell this thing.
Yeah.
Here it looks kind of like an updated property, 139 this year. Nicer style though.
2-1.
You maybe give it, I mean, go conservative. Let's roll with like a 115.
Yeah.
For that style, times 0.7, 80,000. Renovation on this thing.
Got to be 15 at least, maybe 20K.
Floors, kitchen, bathroom, paint.
You can deck it out with another room.
35, let's call it.
5.
Which still don't make sense. That takes us to 45. They want 55. That's before a fee. So yeah, like 35 cash. But I think that could still definitely be tough.
All right, look, I got the number here. It's a new number.
You can read it off.
Yeah, 717.
Yep.
210.
Yep.
5818.
Let's do it. After this, guys, we'll wrap up with any final questions you guys got. Hey, how's it going? I'm trying to get a hold of Lee.
So Lee, actually, we are an investment company, and Lee is our listing agent.
Is this who I'm supposed to speak to?
Yeah. Same. You spoke to Mike.
Port Richey, Florida.
No, you know what? I might have the wrong number. This is for Butler, PA.
Okay, 129 Slagle.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, yep. So he actually is he's our listing agent. So we are an investment company. We're based here in Lebanon, PA. Lee Wolf is our listing agent for some of these properties that we have on market. So you're talking to the right guy. I'm one of the dispo agents here, working the deals of these properties.
All right, just so I understand. So you guys are wholesaling it, and Lee's got it on the market, right?
We are working direct to seller with this property. So, I mean, we don't represent them, but we do work alongside of them to get the property sold.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And Lee is our agent that we, obviously gives us authorization to list it on market. We're going through Lee, who we've been working with for quite a bit of time now. And he has been an agent of ours that we list through. Yes, correct.
Okay, awesome, cool. All righty. So yeah, just came across it on Zillow here. I wanted to ask if there's anything like crazy going on. So I'm obviously looking at this as a flip. Anything with the foundation, electric, plumbing, roof?
No issues reported. So when we went through our due diligence period, I mean, as far as with the sellers, they informed us nothing of any foundation issues. Now the roof in itself is.
I think I don't think there's going to be enough spread for him to wholesale it to us, and then we wholesale it again. So I think the play is going to be that I'm going to come to the conclusion with him on the phone that, hey, I'm just too low. And then depending on his contract price, if the guy's cool, I'll pitch him on a joint venture. So that's where my head's going.
35.
Electrical is 100 amp, circuit breakers, good condition. The gas furnace is central heat. That was last replaced 15 years
I wonder what they contracted for, though.
Yeah, water heaters, gas. That was the last replaced 4 years ago. Good condition, no issues. The plumbing is main sewer line replaced recently 2 months ago, and then it is public water and sewer. As far as that.
All right.
And then, yeah, I mean, it's in pretty good condition. It's just, it's more of a. And you said you're looking to flip. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, looking at it as a flip.
Okay. Gotcha.
Coming
Now,
from
do you do
Allentown.
long-term rentals as well? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, I do rentals too.
Okay.
This I'm really just, yeah. I mean, if it was a rental, I'd be asking the seller to hold paper. That's like my main strategy with the rentals. Cash, just flip it. What were you guys coming up with? Yeah, this would be cash deal.
Okay.
What do you guys have for an ARV on this one?
Yep. So our ARV, we're running 110.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right. I'm in the valley, so this will be a new one for me in Butler. It's maybe like 40 minutes from us. All righty. And then I see you guys got it up for 55. I ran some numbers before calling you. I know I'm a fair amount lower than that. So I mean, what would you guys say your rock bottom is on this?
I mean, we have received other offers and interest on the property, especially after getting a price drop. So as of right now, I mean, we have received offers at asking currently. So, I mean, I don't make the final call, or underwriters do, but I mean, all I would encourage you to do is at least
Underwriters.
you do, you know, your highest and final if it is something you're pretty interested in. Because with that, you know, obviously we just received a lot more interest, and it doesn't look like we'll have the property for too long. So, I mean, would you be making a sight unseen purchase? Would you want to see the property? What does that
No,
kind of look
I
like?
definitely want to walk it. You know, I go hard, maybe like $5,000 hard right away.
Okay.
55. No, I don't. 55. That's too much. There's got to be other wholesalers running around. For a cash deal, just jump to it, man. I'm probably capped at like 35.
35 is what you would be as far as cap. Okay. Well, I'll note that here. And then I know as far as terms now, what would your closing date be? As far as time frame, are you flexible? Is there a certain time frame that you would need to close by? What does that look like for it?
Close whenever. Did you guys already start title?
Yep. So title, we do a prelim title open with Eastern Title and Settlement. So is that something, you know, with 95% of the properties we acquire, we open title right away. It's just a quicker transaction. As soon as we get a buyer, it's just something we, you know, easy transaction as soon as we have title open and all that process is done.
Yeah, that's fine. I think I've closed the deal with them too. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, close whenever then.
Okay. So you're flexible. And due diligence period, you said you at least like to walk the property. Now, would you require any inspections on the property or appraisals, or
No.
get your eyes on it?
I'll walk it myself. Yeah, I mean, just quick little walkthrough, make sure as long as they can't walk up to it and tip it over, right? There's no foundation, electric, plumbing, roof. You know, if those check out, it's a done deal, you know?
Right.
Do you guys have that spread to be able to accept 35, or are you guys contracted higher?
I'm not able to disclose exactly what we're under contract for. I'm not authorized to do that, but that is something that, you know, where we're at with your offer, I'll run it by the team. Now, again, that is not where we have acquired other offers that are at asking. Now, due to terms, they haven't accepted anything quite yet. I know some of the terms were we received the interest, but the tenants currently are still in the property. They're looking to be up by this weekend. So that has been something that has been a contingency with other interest we received on the property. Other investors are looking to do a long-term rent, since there isn't much work that you need to do into the property for a long-term rental. And rental rates are going for $800 to $1,200 in that area that we estimated. So it's definitely a good hold situation type of property. But again, if you're looking to flip it, obviously I understand you need to put a little bit of more work into it to get an ARV value. So I understand where you're coming in at with an offer of 35. We've had stronger offers with other guys that aren't looking to really do much work to the property, to just hold it in long-term investment. That's where we're seeing those offers come in. And so if that's something you would consider, you know, obviously I'll still take it to the team and see what we can do and see if we can work something out. But as of right now, I don't know if that's something they'd go ahead and accept just with the other interests we do have.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Not a problem. Just, you know, let me know. What out of curiosity, what's the name of the company you're with? Equity Deals. Are you one of the owners there, or you just work with them?
I'm not an owner, just a disposition agent here.
Nice.
So I'm not an owner. Yep.
How long have you been with them?
I've been working here since September.
All right. I have so like obviously I buy. If it doesn't buy, we do a little bit of wholesale on stuff I'm not picking up. So, I mean, if you're never not with those guys, hit me up. This is my cell phone. I'll take you on my team.
Appreciate it. That yeah, I do appreciate that. That sounds. I'll keep my eyes out. This company has been good to me so far, so I don't have any reason to leave.
All right. Well, if anything changes, you know where to go. Hit me up. Let me
I will-
text me. This is my cell phone. I'll text you all my info right now. Just let me know as soon as
Okay.
possible on the 35 if you can. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna
Sounds
scoop
good.
something else
Would
up.
that be your highest and final that you're able to do?
That's the max. Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right, I will. I'll take it to him, and I got your terms here. You would be good with title company, as far as our EMD. We require minimum of 5K. Is that something you would work with as well?
Cool. Yep.
Okay, and flexible clothes, and you pretty much purchase as is. Just would like to walk. Kind of term. No other contingencies as far as that.
That's it.
Okay, I will. I'll take it to the team and see what I can do. And I'll stay in touch.
Cool, man. All right. I appreciate you.
Thanks.
All
You're
right,
welcome.
bye.
Bye.
I'd hire him. He sounds pretty good.
I would just shoot him the cash contract for.
Yeah, Mike, I would say just hit him up. Be like, hey, you spoke to my partner Eric, and then just give him all those details.
Yeah. You think picking it up for 35 is pretty good, huh?
I'm sensing a big bluff at, oh, we got 55. I don't believe it. That's not real offers. It's wholesalers.
You might.
And they definitely have enough spread, because if they didn't have enough spread, he would have told me no. So
Yeah.
they can make that deal happen. I think what we'll probably do, though, because I think that could be a good relationship with this guy. I think we'll go walk it before we contract it, and then try and drop him another 5. Try and bang him for like 30.
Yeah. So offer him 5 hard right now.
We just want like the best discount possible. With one, it's a wholesaler, so like there's no like, dude, it's fair game to get as aggressive as you want in my head. So we'll try and get the best deal possible from these guys. And the reason we need the best deal possible is because the market, like, this is a rough market. So this is going to be a hard deal to dispose. So if we just got a deal, it's going to be very hit or miss. Like, we need a freaking home run if we're going to pull this thing off. So yeah, like we'll go see it, and then we'll beat him up even more and try and get him even lower.
And like pitching him like finding out his rock bottom and saying like, we'll cut you in 1% finders if we dispo it. You think?
I'll just ask for his rock bottom if it actually goes to that point. To be honest, I didn't think they were going to be able to play ball at 35. So now that they are, that's still on the table. Let's pursue a cash deal with these guys. And like I said, we'll go see it before the contract. Hey, we saw it, dude. I got to be at 30, and then we'll see where they're at with that. Maybe lower. We might hit them for 28. Whatever.
Yeah. I've seen these deals. So like these wholesalers, bro. If you just find out the rock bottom, you offer them 1% finder's fee. Have you found out that works pretty well?
I've never done anything. I've heard of wholesalers doing stuff like that. I've always rolled off of either like, yo, I guess a couple of things I've done with wholesalers, either a normal joint venture. So like, yo, I'll try and sell it for as much as I can, and we'll split the total fee 50-50. Or other times I might just try and negotiate a deal. Yo, are you opening a joint venture? Yeah, man, shop it to your people. And then I'll come in and just hit them for a cash offer. Yo, I'll contract the deal myself at this price. All right, yeah, I'll take that, and then I assign it for way more. So it depends on who I'm dealing with and in the situation. I think how I'll kind of piece that deal up. I'd say like the big thing, Mike, for me is when I do a joint venture, I really like to be fair with people. So like obviously I got a whole company with a lot of expenses now, so it's always 60-40 if I joint venture with somebody, which is more than fair. But so I just try and be fair with people. To give them $1,000 and then I make 20 just doesn't necessarily feel right. I don't want to screw anybody over. But if I give you a price, hey, we'll do the deal. I will contract the deal at this price. Then I'm not going to feel bad if I go sell it. You accepted my offer. I can do whatever I want with it at that point. So
yeah, that's kind of where I was at with that 1% finder's fee, kind of matching them.
Yeah, but they're a whole wholesale company. Like, bro, like, I don't know. Like, when I'm dealing with other companies or other individuals doing really well, like, it's almost like survival of the fittest. Like let the best man win, best negotiator win. It's kind of like my mindset. So the goal is going to be to crush these guys, get the best deal possible, and then we'll roll from there. See what happens.
Bro said he had some underwriters.
No, that's all. That's all cap. It's I know who's teaching that line too.
Like you talking to him, bro.
Huh?
We the underwriters on this one. We got the numbers for you.
Yeah, no. Underwriter means like my boss in the wholesale game.
Yeah. We cut them percent finders and we match that. We show them what we're making. That should be easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they see we're making one, they're making one. Each make a point, call it good.
Yeah. I mean that too.
I mean, he sounds pretty legit. John sounds pretty chill, bro. You was even talking about hiring him.
No, I like him. I like him a lot. He's a good wholesaler. Like we definitely don't want to burn a bridge with these guys. So,
yeah, I'm keeping it.
We'll negotiate aggressive, but we're not going to burn a bridge. We'll keep it on the up.
Yeah, they sent me the agent's number, and then the agent told me that a wholesaler's with them, and so just kind of went around the circle.
Yeah. All right. And the other thing too, just for a learning lesson for everybody, when you can't make deals with wholesalers work. So John's like, no, man, we can't do 35. And no, Eric, we're not going to do a joint venture with you. What I do is, and this should be a staple piece, save that address in a sheet, wait for them to flop on it, and then go direct to seller. And what happens is because some other wholesaler flopped on it, that seller's going to be more inclined. John, the wholesaler, he tried to negotiate the best they could. Seller the most, so they already got the seller at the seller's rock bottom at that point in time. But after that seller loses a deal at that price, they're going to come down even further, and we're going to be the ones right there to snatch it up. So, we don't look to screw people over. Hey, I'll try and wholesale his wholesale deal, or I'll try and do a joint venture. But if you're not wanting to play ball, cool, man. I'll sit on the sidelines. I'll wait for you to flop on it, and then I'm going to get the deal. And sometimes, to be honest, when I'm dealing with newbie wholesalers, I'll put that in their face. Like, look, man, I'm trying to give you advice and trying to help you out to pull this deal off. But if you're not willing to work with me, then dude, I'm telling you right now, I will wait for you to flop on this. I'm going to contract it. And then I'm going to hit you up when you do flop on it, telling you I got the contract or I closed the deal. And sometimes, like, even though that seems a little harsh, like, man, that's kind of harsh to say to somebody. One, it's real. And two, that what I've noticed is these wholesalers, they'll start to second guess working. Like, maybe I should try and work with him, or maybe what he's saying is right. Maybe I do need to get it at a lower price. You know what I mean? So they might become a little more receptive of like, shit, if I don't let Eric help me, or if I don't take his advice, he's saying he's going to wait for me to flop on it. And he's pretty confident that I'm going to flop on it. So they'll really second guess that decision and be hopefully a little more inclined to work with you. But always, you're definitely going to have wholesalers that are too hard headed. No, man, I'm not listening to, like, they just think they're right. Like, no, my numbers are right. I could sell it and make 20 grand at this contract price. Like, dude, yeah, right. That ain't going to happen. So, all right, great. I'll save that address, wait for you to flop on it. And what we would do in our office is everybody on the team would build on that spreadsheet of every wholesale deal that comes through. Basically like anything and everything. And then like roughly, once a month, something like that, then we would skip trace that whole list and then cold call it. Like, hey, we're just going to call and text all these people. Hey, you looking to sell the house? And then boom, that's free leads, free deals from wholesalers flopping on stuff. There's no reason not to do that.
That deal right there, that would bring my cost basis per door down a lot if I picked that up for 35.
Yeah, that'd be good too.
I'm trying to get it below 80 right now. I was at 90 a few months ago. So if I picked up that for 35 cost basis, the way and condition it's in, it's like that's going to pull my average down, which is what I want. I want a lower cost basis per door.
Yes, that's perfect then.
Deer lower, if you could do it. But
how many rentals do you have right now?
Bro, I'm at 20.
Nice, I like it.
As of like last week, we got like 10 more properties that are duplexes and quads, multifamily, working on. So one of them just went through, and then the other 9 are kind of just chilling. But the deal I got on this last one, Joe and I are working on it. Lady's moving out May 2025. The next tenant could come in. I got a tenant lined up for it to pick up the duplex, the other side. And we're looking at, I got to put her name in the electricity because you got to take it out of the other person's name. But you know how that goes. Got to get electricity swapped over. And in Louisiana, New Orleans, if you don't get 6 months goes by when you don't have somebody's name on the unit, the meter gets pulled and they got to send it an $800 reconnect fee.
Yeah.
So you can't let 6 months really lapse. So, but luckily for this, I already have a tenant lined up for it.
That's good.
But that'll add 22.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, man.
You're freaking rolling, dude.
Trying to pull on this wholesale game, bro. I'm trying to get more on the flipping.
Yeah, that's where it's at, man. Guys, I do gotta run. I got another meeting creeping up here. What I was going to tell you guys is a lot of you guys don't know that we have a high level mastermind. This is something that's been going on for literally a year now, which is crazy. Come next month. The goal with the high level mastermind, first it started with, hey, I'm going to show you guys how to build a company step by step. It's direct coaching. And then, things just kind of changed. I've realized like, hey, some people have a goal to like, hey, I want to start flipping homes. Like Nate Eaton, he joined like, yo, Eric, I want to build my company. Couple months in, he pivoted. He's like, dude, I want to build a rental portfolio and freaking flip homes. Now he's 13 plus, rentals. I don't know, maybe 6-7 flips he's done this year alone, stuff like that. So people have different goals, but it's direct coaching. It's very, very small group. It's a year long. It started with only 10 people in the beginning. And so now that we're up to another year, I'm going to be taking on another small handful of people. So if anybody's interested, I know some of you guys already applied. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Just a basic application. But I thought I'd share that with you guys here before I post in the chat. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have one more. So if you're looking at 5-figure a month right now, you think by joining that mastermind within 6 months, you could be looking at 6 figures a month?
The biggest thing comes down to putting in the work, man. The people that showed up and out of the 10 people that signed up, I'm just going to keep it super real. Out of the 10 people that signed up, there's maybe 5 or 6 that are actually still rolling. The other 4 guys never even made it to a Zoom for the first month. Signed up, never showed up, which is incredible. And then you have other people that show up, but don't carry the weight and put in the work. So the people that did put in the work, the only person here I think is John Benecourt. He committed to the things that I taught him. I don't know if you're listening, John, but I'm talking on the mastermind. John's a guy, he joined the group, listened to everything I told him to a T. And now how many deals a month do you do on average, John? And then how big's your team?
Probably like 4 to 5. I just closed on 2 yesterday and the day before. The 2 that I was telling you about.
And then your team's how big?
Dude, like you just said, people drop off, people don't show up. And then, I fired a couple. So I'm down to like three people now, but I had 7. So 7. And I also fired my manager as well, because he just wasn't doing a great job. And
when did you start that team though? Because like obviously Ian started last year.
No, I recently started it.
But how many months ago? 3 months ago? 4?
Yeah, it was about 3 months ago. A little less than 3 months. Yeah, a little less than 3 months.
John, he's an example, one example here of he committed to the material and it worked out for him. He's killing it. Then you got Ryan and Grant. I'm doing some stuff with them. I don't own their company per se, but they blew it up. They decided to partner together. They're a team of 15, 16 guys on that team, which is crazy. They already had 2 6-figure months, which is freaking nuts. But that's the overall goal. It's to get you individually to a place of doing consistent deal flow. And then if you do want to scale into fix and flip, scale into a company, that's what it's about. And it's direct. Like I'm holding your hand 3 days a week to a T to get you there. So I've never shared that openly with anybody in the group. So it's out there now.
I have a question, Eric.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
So I don't know if anybody knows, but truck driving is my primary source of income. I guess like what would you say is a requirement per day? Like, working and looking around and, putting in work to make something happen to like get out of the grind.
Major motivation.
Well, I'm saying like, from a time perspective, because obviously driving truck, I can put in long hours, but
I would see.
I also want to put in work to, you know,
Yeah,
be able to do, you know, get out of the grind.
definitely. You know, so in this mastermind, you really need at least an hour to 2 hours a day, like period, at the bare minimum to be starting to close deals. Examples of that would be Rick Chapman. He joined the mastermind when John did last year. He's doing he's closed maybe 5 or 6 deals, and that's with him only spending maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 hours a week at most, which is like really low. That's not a lot of time spent. But he's not at a place of doing multiple deals a month, right? So if you could do like at least 1 to 2 hours every single day and actually put in the work for those 1 to 2 hours a day, then I would say it's going to be a couple months until you get to that place. So I would say 60 to 90 days is when checks should start to hit. Like, yo, now you're holding money in your hand. And then hopefully that's enough money to like, all right, I could bail out of the job. So Rick, at this point, maybe right before the holiday break, he was able to quit the job. So he's able to say, I'm done. I'm not going back to my job. I'm doing this full time. I think Jerry's in that same boat. I don't know if I think Jerry, he's too afraid to quit his job just yet. So he's part-time. But Rick quit. So he's no longer driving a truck. So that's the goal, man, to get you guys out of a freaking job and start doing real estate full time. Everybody's doing it full time that joined the mastermind, to put it that way. Jerry is, okay. Rick is, John is, Sander is. And then the levels of success that varies out of the people that all started, but that doesn't come from skill level. Everybody started at the same skill level. What it came down to is how much work are you putting in, and are you truly listening to the things I'm telling you to do? Out of the 10 people, not too many people listened to everything I taught. And the ones that did, they're the ones that are at the top, making a shit ton of money, successful. So that's really what it boils down to.
95% of the times when I'm in the Zooms with you guys, like I'm on the road right now in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So, and it's a little thing that me and my sister want to do together to like joint venture and, you know, build a company. But you know, we both want to get into a point where we can both get out of our regular jobs and, you know, do this venture together.
Yeah. Well, you know, in the mastermind, I do allow partnerships. So if you wanted to partner with somebody, then you could, obviously it's not free. So that's a way to split the cost then, obviously, too. So if you wanted to do it with your sister, she's more than welcome to attend that. If any of you guys partner.
What is the cost, I guess?
There's actually a couple different levels. Okay. So, like if you fill out the application, I drop all the whole details of what it really looked like for you through the next year. I don't want anybody to think like you have to do this to be successful in the game, because that's not the case. We did 2 years or a year and a half of only this group, but then I've been bombarded of like, hey, I want direct coaching. Do you do that? And for a while it was like, no, I don't do that because I didn't really have an interest in that. But now actually I enjoy helping you guys out and seeing you guys grow. So we'll keep it going. I took 10 people on last year. It's been proven to be a success. And so now I'm going to keep going with it. You know, it's cool.
Bro,
What's up, Mike?
So if you could tell, if you say that the mastermind like gets you from like Chris's situation, he's probably doing like 4-figure loads on his trucking business, you know, probably 4 bands per load per drive, you know, and you could probably take him, maybe that's 1 of those or 2 of those a month. You could take him from like 4 figures a month to 5 figures a month in like 6 months. And then if he gets really good, you could even take him from like 5 figures a month to 6 figures a month with the mastermind.
It all levels out. I mean, the real goal, there's 2 main goals, right? One is let's get to consistent deal flow as a solo entrepreneur. Get out of the freaking 9 to 5 within a couple months. Be doing this full time. Once you're doing this full time, the next step is like, what's the real play here? Is it to build? First, it was always, you know, hey, the goal is to build a wholesale company. But out of the year that we ran this mastermind, I realized that people's goals change. You know, very few, you know, John is the one that said like, no, I'm still building a wholesale company, and now he is, and he's doing it. Same with Grant and Ryan, same with Rick and Jerry, but other guys, like I was saying, Nate Eaton, you know, Eric, I want to build a company. I'll join the mastermind. All right, cool, man. Couple minutes into the mastermind, I don't think I want a wholesale company. I think I want to flip homes and build a rental portfolio. All right, man, I'm going to help you accomplish that. Great. Now he's doing multiple flips literally every single month, like 2 or 3 flips every single month, consistently going on. Multiple rentals, I think over 13 rentals acquired this year alone. And he's he makes a lot of money at his job. So like he's making over 6 figures in real estate, maybe over 200,000 this year in the mastermind. But he makes a lot of money at that job. So he's like, man, I got to make a couple 100,000 before I quit. So everybody's goal is different. Then you got anybody else's? Oh, and then you got Kyle. Kyle wanted to build a company. Then same thing. No, I don't think I want to build a company anymore. And so now Kyle's flipping homes. He's doing a little bit of wholesale, but he's flipping real estate with some relative in his family. So goals do change, but the overall objective is to like automate wholesale, start doing multiple deals every single month. That's the goal. Guys, I got like 2 minutes until this next meeting. Any other questions you guys got?
So like that mastermind, bro, like, you know, like, and they do in like college where they'll put you, like you have to ace the class to even really get it approved for like maybe the mentorship program. And then once you do get a mentorship program, you have to be like top of the class to get that. That's how I see your mastermind thing. Kind of like the same thing. Have you seen a college do that?
Yeah, but that's not how I go about it. You know, as far as this election, I have to like believe that you can pull this off if you listen to the things I'm telling you to do. You know, there's a lot of people that coach in this and like, oh yeah, you got the money, yeah, you could join, but that's not. No, if I'm going to spend a year with only a handful of people, I got to see it in you that like, yo, he will put in the work and follow through. Because if you're not going to follow through, then I don't want you in it. It's more than that. I need more success stories, John. Like multiple guys, multiple success stories. But I want to keep that going. I want the vast majority of the people to be wildly successful in the group. Since it's a tight knit group, this is not something open to the public. So,
yeah, I'm looking at 80-hour weeks soon.
It doesn't even take that, man. I mean, John Benacore, are you still listening?
Yes, sir.
When you first started, you had your trucking company and I think other stuff. So like how much work were you putting in the beginning starting out?
Starting out, so the great thing about the way that I structured my trucking company was that I can manage all my drivers remotely. So I was able to put in, you know, a couple hours a day just to wholesaling. And then I had already wholesaled before I had joined you or your mastermind. So I already had a couple of deals under my belt. But then doing this, yeah, it's maybe like if you even put, you know, 5 hours a day, you're gonna see a huge jump, a lot of success. But imagine if you were to put in like 12, 16 hours, like I do now. Oh my God, yeah, forget about it, dude. This will be your living. I completely got out of trucking, which that's what I wanted to do, because I started wholesaling, and I took it really, really serious.
Yeah, you listen
I have
almost everything, John. Maybe not
I
the role play,
have
but
2 trucks now.
For real.
I just drive and I got 2 trucks, so I'm in the seat every day. But I want to get employees here, and then I want to jump out of the truck. I want to do other things, and this is where I see my future is in real estate.
And just like to make it clear, because I do got to jump, I'm running a minute late now, but just to make it clear too, you guys, like anybody can get to multiple deals a month with no mentorship. I'm living proof of that. Like, dude, I was doing 3 to 5 deals a month as a brand newbie, but it took a lot of time and a freaking lot of work and a lot of trial and error. Like, crap, I messed that up. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. You know, so the big thing, like the way I see this mastermind is you just collapse the timeline. That's with any coaching program. If you were only doing YouTube and you weren't here, then it would take a little bit longer to learn. But because you show up to the Zooms consistently, the timeline gets crunched. And the more you get involved and invest into yourself, just like me, I've spent a lot of money on courses and mentorships. Every single time it's just collapsed the timeline. You know, so you could do it on your own with no spend. You know, so don't think you have to go, you know, join some high level group to pull this off. This is just for people that want to do it much, much faster. Learn 10 years worth of my mistakes in 1 year. So
when you say collapse,
Absolutely.
I always think about like Tesla for some reason. Like he said that he wanted to make a Tesla every 10 seconds. And right now his factory is doing a Tesla every 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's like collapsing that timeline, right? It's like, if you can do that, you can get to that big money. But yeah, bro.
Yeah, and it's all scalability. It's what's your goal. Some people's goals currently in the mastermind are I want to be a one man band. I don't think I want a company. I'm good if I could do 2-3 deals a month of my own. All right, cool. Then you got Ryan and Grant. They're literally on track to be a 7-figure wholesale company. Which is freaking nuts. Within 1 year, Grant never done a deal, or maybe he's done one deal before the mastermind. Same with Ryan, maybe one or two. Very, very green though. Within 1 year, just listening, boom. Now they're literally going to do $1 million this year alone. Just freaking
That's amazing.
blows my
That's
mind,
crazy.
but makes me hype for them. So a lot of potential, man. But guys, I do got to run. The link's there in the chat if you guys want to save that quick. But I am going to end this. You guys have Zoom with Terrell tomorrow, and then next week we'll be back to normal. We're just going to keep focusing on deal help, all that good stuff.
Thanks a bunch, Eric.
Cool. Enjoy the rest of the day, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Thanks.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Yes.